Before anything else, you need to hear this. You are not crazy. Because if there is a narcissist in your life, they likely spent months, maybe years, carefully shaping a different story. A story where you are the problem, where you are too sensitive, too dramatic, too emotional, where every conflict somehow becomes your fault. And the terrifying part is that many people eventually start believing it, not because it's true, but because repetition changes perception. This psychological manipulation is often associated with behaviors linked to narcissistic personality disorder, where a person seeks control, validation, and dominance in relationships. Over time, they create a narrative that slowly erodes your confidence in your own reality. But here's the truth many people discover too late. You weren't broken. You were targeted. And that difference changes everything. Because narcissistic manipulation rarely happens by accident. It happens strategically. They observe, they listen, they study your insecurities. Then they quietly walk through the easiest door in your emotional boundaries. By the time you realize something feels wrong, they are already sitting comfortably in your life, acting like they belong there. Today, we're going to flip that power dynamic, not with yelling, not with revenge, but with 5 quiet strategies that dismantle their influence. And the last one is the most powerful, because it removes the one thing they depend on most: your need for their validation. 1. Become the gray rock they cannot control. Imagine the most boring object you can think of: a dull gray rock sitting on the side of the road. No one photographs it, no one picks it up, no one pays attention to it. It simply exists, uninteresting, unreactive, unbothered. That is the idea behind the gray rock method. Most people make a critical mistake when dealing with a narcissist. They try to win the argument. They try to explain themselves better. They bring evidence, logic, examples. But none of that works, because narcissists rarely care about the content of what you say. They care about the reaction you give, your frustration, your confusion, your emotional response. That emotional energy is their reward. So what happens when you stop providing it? Short answers, neutral tone. No emotional engagement. I'm fine. Okay, not much. No drama, no reaction. Just nothing interesting. And when the emotional reward disappears, something surprising happens. They lose interest. Because manipulation without reaction is like performing a play to an empty room. Eventually, they leave the stage. 2. Ask the question that slows them down. You've probably experienced this moment before. Something they say doesn't make sense. The story changes, the blame suddenly shifts to you. The logic becomes twisted. But instead of confronting them, ask one calm question. That's interesting. Can you help me understand that better? That's it. No accusation, no attack, just curiosity. Narcissistic narratives rely on speed. They are delivered quickly so you react before you think. But when you slow the conversation down, their logic begins to collapse. Because their version of events was never designed to survive careful examination. You're not attacking them. You're simply asking them to explain. And explanation is where the story often falls apart. 3. Protect yourself from gaslighting. There is a specific kind of psychological pain that comes from being told your memory is wrong. Not debated, not questioned, completely denied. You remember what happened clearly, but they calmly say, that never happened. You're remembering it wrong. You always twist things. Over time, this technique, known as gaslighting, starts to break something important: your trust in your own mind. Eventually, you begin wondering, maybe I did misunderstand. Maybe I'm overreacting. That uncertainty is exactly what gaslighting is designed to create. So here is one of the most powerful defenses. Keep a record, a journal, notes on your phone, voice memos after conversations. Write down what was said, when it happened, how it made you feel. Not dramatically, just factually. Over time, something important happens. Your clarity returns. Because every time you record the truth, you remind yourself, your experience was real. You may never even need to show anyone those records. That's not the point. The point is protecting your connection to reality. And once that connection is restored, gaslighting loses its power. 4. Rebuild the life they tried to shrink. One of the most common tactics narcissists use is isolation. Not always obviously, usually subtly. Small comments about your friends, quiet criticism about your family. Your sister doesn't really support you. That friend is using you. Those people don't understand you the way I do. Each comment seems harmless on its own, but over time, they create distance between you and the people who support you. Why? Because someone with strong connections is harder to control. A person with a full life can leave, and narcissists are not afraid of losing you. They're afraid of losing control over you. So the quiet rebellion is simple. Reconnect. Text the friend you stopped talking to. Say yes to the dinner invitation you kept declining. Pick up the hobby you abandoned. Join the class you were curious about. Each connection rebuilds something important: your independence, your identity, your life outside their influence. And slowly, something shifts. The cage they built around you starts to feel too small, not because you forced the door open, but because your life grew bigger than the cage itself. 5. The quiet ending they can't stop. Everything we've discussed matters, but the final step is different, because this one happens inside your own mind. It's the moment you stop trying to make them understand you. This is the hardest step of all, because when someone hurts us, we naturally want explanation and closure. We rewrite messages, replay conversations, search for the perfect words that will finally make them see the truth. But here is the painful reality. Many narcissists already understand exactly what they did. The confusion isn't accidental. It's strategic. Because every time you come back trying to explain yourself, you are still asking for something from them. Understanding, validation, acknowledgement. And as long as you need something from them, they still hold power. But the day you stop needing that understanding, everything changes. Not because you won the argument, not because they apologized, but because the emotional contract quietly ended. You stopped waiting for a door that was never going to open, and instead, you walked away to find another door entirely, one that opens without manipulation, without confusion, without emotional games. That moment of peace is the one thing narcissists cannot control. Your anger doesn't scare them, your arguments don't scare them, but your indifference does. Because indifference means the control is gone. They no longer hold power. The truth about healing. None of this happens overnight. A narcissist's influence usually develops slowly, through months or years of small manipulations. Undoing that influence takes patience, small choices, moments where you choose yourself instead of the old pattern. But if you're hearing this message right now, you're already doing the most important part. You're questioning the story they told you. And that means something inside you never stopped fighting for the truth. The real version of you, the one that existed before the manipulation, never disappeared. They're still there. Maybe quieter, maybe more cautious, but still there, and still worth finding again.